Get ready. It's time. Christina, Catherine, Amy, and Lauren. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, I'm Christina. Hey, I'm Bob. Just kidding, I'm Catherine.
Hi, I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren.
And we're Cimorelli.
Hello.
Welcome back to
the Cimorelli podcast.
Oh my
We miss you,
gosh.
Lisa.
That makes it sound like it's a comedy
love
podcast,
you.
but it's not a comedy podcast. Well, maybe it is when I'm on it. Just kidding.
Catherine.
Just kidding.
Cat fancies yourself, babe. Just comedian.
Not funny at all.
Okay. Hello. Hello, Patreon.
Hey, guys.
Hey guys, love ya. Thanks for supporting us. We
Love
really
you. We
appreciate
never
it.
list you.
What's up?
Exactly. Hello, welcome back to another episode with our favorite patrons, aka you guys. Today, we're gonna tell you guys how we deal with depression and anxiety.
Woo woo.
A great topic, very helpful, very
It's
important.
a good topic.
But the woo. Who can relate?
Well, I'm not saying woo of depression anxiety.
Who
I'm
can
saying
relate?
good job for dealing with them. You don't
Okay.
need the tips.
Woo,
Yeah.
depression. Okay, so a past.
How you deal with depression and anxiety? Okay.
Okay.
Is that what you want me to do?
Yes.
If you haven't seen the last episode, which I bet you guys have, but if you just haven't for some reason, it was dating deal breakers and subtle red flags in toxic friends. So check that out. If you missed it, I doubt you missed it, but you know what? Maybe someone here did.
Yeah.
So let's jump in. And before we get into our main topic and our four perspectives, we always talk about what we had for breakfast.
Your favorite segment. Woo.
Okay, since I hate it, then I'll go first. So I had crepes with strawberries.
All right. How
Iconic.
you so fancy?
I know.
That's what we
Lisa
say.
always says.
No,
Why
that's
do-
what we
how do you have such a
realized.
fancy breakfast.
Every breakfast is like some wild concoction.
I make
and
everything
she's like,
from
I
scratch.
hate this
Is Barrett
segment.
like destroying the house, or does he just chill?
I hold him the entire time.
How do you
and
do that? He's heavy.
Yeah, but he sits on my hip and he holds on to the spatula or the cup or whatever, and he helps me do it. Not very well, but he helps with all that. I hold him the entire time.
That is
He
so
hooks-
cute.
He hooks his arm around my arm and his legs around me, and then he like hangs on like a monkey.
That is
So cute.
Or if he wasn't doing that, which is very rare, he may be destroying. So he's taking every single lid out of the one. Then he's taking every single piece of Tupperware, which is probably like 50 pieces, out of the other thing.
You got to get those
And I
locks
just
on
go,
those.
okay, I'll put him back in later. You can just do that for now. Or I put him on this little stand thing next to the sink, and I take all the knives away, and I turn the water on really slow, and I give him a spoon, and then he goes like this in the water.
Wow. So basically, your son is becoming a professional chef at the age of 1.
Not exactly.
While he's cooking crepes.
I mean,
That's so
not
fancy.
exactly, but he has.
That makes
flipped-
it even more impressive.
He's flipped a few things successful on his own, but mostly he's still working on the technique.
Okay, by the age of 2, he'll be a
Maybe.
professional.
He does want to cook. What about
Wow.
you guys? What'd you have?
It was really bad. It
What?
didn't sound bad, but it tasted bad. It was
Yikes,
like
the
toast
worst.
with a slice of pepper jack cheese and a fried egg, and then some sausage on the
That doesn't
side.
That sounds
bad.
good.
But this is the thing. By the time I went to eat the bread or eat the toast with that, it wasn't even crunchy anymore. It was like wet.
Oh
No,
my Lord.
man.
It was so
what
bad.
did you do wrong here?
It was like white bread toast. It wasn't like a real toast.
Yeah, but how did it get?
It might have not
Because
been
it was
toasted
sitting
enough,
on
maybe?
a plate for a bit, and then it just like
Oh, I often just
You have
leave
to
it
do
on
the
the
toast
tray or whatever.
last.
I leave it on the tray thing so that it's not like sitting
Well,
against itself, building up.
usually I do it on a bagel, so I don't have
Oh,
that
yeah.
problem. But it was
Bagels are a
really
little more
gross. I
firm.
was like,
Oh my gosh, that ain't right. Okay, next.
I had 2 eggs and sourdough bread and avocados on the sourdough bread.
Wow, Amy, your eyes look
Ooh.
really blue right now.
Because the
with the
shirt
shirt.
Yeah, your shirt.
Sourdough avocado toast. Is that what you're
is
saying?
the best. I have it
You said
literally
it in
every
an
day.
interesting way.
That's a very on trend. I feel like sourdough is really in right
It
now.
is so.
And
Hey,
avocado toast has
It's
really
the
been
best.
into.
One of the top breads possible for avocado toast.
I go through
is
bread
definitely
phases.
sourdough.
So
I don't like sourdough.
I have the
bread.
same
I
bread.
can't
breakfast
imagine
for
not liking it.
It's
You
so
don't like
good.
sour? No, Catherine Ann.
It's my last
Catherine
choice.
Ann.
No,
Well,
man.
besides like maybe like a rye.
Toast sourdough is so good.
Okay,
Freaking grilled cheese
It's
on
sour.
sourdough is
Guys,
the
okay, I'm
best.
probably the number one stan of sourdough. I've told
Yeah,
the
she
story a
loves
long
it.
time ago, but as a teenager, I would all the time. I don't know why. Went to the grocery store at like midnight. I don't know, it's just like a weird teenager thing. And I always got a whole loaf of sourdough, and then I always ate the whole thing, like a whole
I don't
long
get
one.
good for you.
I would choose a baguette.
Just really good.
No.
That would be my choice.
Sourdough or bust.
Okay.
Okay, I had this thing that Max and I, my husband and I, have been having for a very long time, every single day, which is
like my
Dave's
friend
Killer.
Max.
Well, someone's watching this podcast.
My
they
really
don't know.
good friend Max.
Hello, Max. You know, like when someone, like your dad, is in denial of you dating someone, they're like, "Oh, who's your friend?" And you're like, my friend. You know that I'm dating them. Anyway, no, my dad doesn't call my husband my friend. He was at the wedding.
He knows. Wow. Thank goodness.
yeah.
I'm glad he knows.
We've been having bagels, as we call them.
Oh,
Bagels?
I always tell Bear that I'm like, you want a bagel? Bagel?
Bagel.
I always say that to Bear.
Bagel.
We say bagel.
It's bagel.
It's
I
bagel.
watched it recently.
Oh, is it bagel?
Yeah.
Kind
Oh,
of.
wow.
Kind
That's
of.
it. It's
She
a
has
meme.
she has a really more what's what I'm looking for?
French.
I think of a really good way. I don't know.
Dave's Killer
A
Bagels.
really good way of saying it.
I need to get this
She's
out.
a lot of pizzazz. There we go.
Yeah, Dave's Killer Bagels with scrambled eggs. That's what I have. And
That's
I'm
it?
really
on
weird.
top or by itself?
So, okay, I don't like cream cheese. I know it's really offensive. A lot of people love cream cheese.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not into it either.
Whenever I tell people, they're like, "Oh my
Cream
god,
cheese on
my world
bagels is
ending."
really good.
It's you don't
They
have to-
literally think their world is
Yeah.
ending.
Oh my god.
You can just have all the cream cheese for yourself and
gonna be
enjoy.
okay.
I like to have my bagels toasted with butter.
Did you know that apparently there's a cream cheese shortage and Kraft was paying people $20 to not make a cheesecake this year?
What? Wait,
What?
how is
I don't
that?
know. I saw it on the internet.
That's not
Wait,
real.
that sounds like
You
a
could
hoax.
sign up and they had a certain amount of spots and they would give you like a gift certificate and like $20.
What if you just made one anyway and you lied? How are they going to
You
monitor
could.
that?
No clue.
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
think
just
it's
not
that
to buy
That's
it.
a lot
I
of
don't
faith
know,
in
bro.
people.
That
I
does
don't
not
know,
make
bro.
sense.
Something
That has to be
sounds
big.
off about that.
Okay, should we move on?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's move on.
Okay, let's get to our full perspective. This is a really, I don't know why we picked
Why
this one.
did we
This was
pick
my
this?
fault. I don't know why we picked this. What's your perspective on this? I think because I've watched a couple romantic comedies in the last couple weeks, so this is just on my mind.
Ooh.
Wait, which ones did you watch?
I don't remember.
Okay, fine.
I really don't remember.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a difference between loving someone and being in love with someone? You know when people say, I love you, I'm just not in love with
I
you.
hate that.
That's a
I
really
had to think about
complicated
this a lot.
question.
Yeah, this is a little deep.
Well, I was trying to think about, okay, you're dating someone, then you're
Okay.
like, I love them, but I'm just not in love with them. I'm like, hey,
I feel like in love just means like romantically.
attracted to.
Yes.
I feel like they're saying
I
I'm
think
not
that's all
attracted
it
to.
means.
Ugh.
Because
But
it's like, no, but it's like you love your family. You're not in love with them.
But just think if you're dating someone and you were in love with them. Can you be like, okay, now I'm not in love,
yeah,
but
it
I love
means
you.
I don't
When they
want to
say I
date you
fell out of
anymore,
love.
but I care about you as a person. I'm not romantically linked to you
Okay, that's
anymore.
not confusing. I fell out of love. I'm like,
I feel
don't
like that
like them
means you
anymore.
just
It just means you don't
disconnected
like
from
them.
them and you don't
Yeah,
like them
I
anymore.
think it's more
Okay,
like. I
in
think
love
you're
to
right.
me, yeah, I think just means I like you a lot.
Okay,
I
this
think
makes me
you're
think
right.
of.
But also though that you have like deep feelings, like not just like, oh, I like you like a crush, like you know them
I
and you have
think
deep
you're
feelings
right.
and you like them.
Yeah.
romantically.
Okay, this makes me think of I think it was either Plato or Aristotle that came up with
my gosh.
the different types of love, like eros, agape.
I
Yeah.
think
That's what I think of. And like eros,
was
I
it.
guess.
I think it's Aristotle.
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever
Okay.
whoever
Okay.
knows, you already know. So just know that you know. So Aristotle or whoever the heck you were, I know that eros is like the passionate, like attraction love.
So saying it's
so-
gone.
Well, okay, but this is my thing. There's a difference between love and lust. And to lust after someone is to simply just desire their
This
flesh.
is the big thing right here. Yeah.
Simply desire their flesh. That's not love. That's lust. Whereas you can love someone, which is to will the highest good for them. That's my personal, that I think is the best. Not my personal. Someone else came up with that. I can't remember who it was. Thomas Aquinas. He came up with the definition of love being to will the highest good for someone. So I think that is what the definition of love is. I think it's a great definition.
Yeah.
So that I
So
think
like,
is
I
like the
love
definition of
you.
love. But then if you add the eros of attraction on top of
Yeah,
that,
it really is. I just don't really like you.
but at the same time, that's also nuanced because you can be in a marriage for 50 years and there could be times where you're not attracted to
And
them.
you don't really like them.
Does that mean that you're not in love with them anymore?
Well, in
Because
that
what
moment,
do you think?
I personally,
I'll tell you
I
that.
saw this TikTok that was like, wow, it wasn't TikTok. It was an Instagram reel. I literally watch reels like all the time, but because I'm just, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it was like this voiceover and it was like, wow, I've done a lot of gross things in front of you. and they just did like a giant burp, and they're like, and I still only want to hang out with you. Wow, we must really be in love. And I was thinking like, that's so interesting. Cause like when I was first dating my husband, it was like, I always wanted to be really put together and like have these cute outfits and do all this stuff. But then later on, it's like, I forget that what I even look like. I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh my gosh, I look really bad. But he doesn't treat me any differently at all. So it's like, I don't know. There's just this, I don't know. Maybe
Okay, I do have an answer
I'm
for
having
that.
a hard time
Okay,
explaining
you know what?
myself.
I do think that you fall out of, I don't think fall out of love. I do think you fall out of attraction and like I think it's possible, not everyone does, but I think a lot of people do in their marriages, and I think you can fall back in. I don't think it's a permanent thing, but I think people think it is a permanent thing.
My pov is that, okay,
Yeah.
I think, because we were talking to a priest about this the other day. He's like, his passion is like marriage and family and stuff, and like he wants to help people have good marriage and yada yada yada. He loves psychology. Anyway,
That's cool.
and he was saying like marriage is like obviously like a lot of work, right? And I feel like when people say this, and once again, never been married, bros, but I feel like when people say this, what they mean is like they're in this relationship and then something happens or things happen. They keep building up and they're like a deeper problem that's not getting solved. So they can't feel the feelings of love that they used to have for the person because they're being cut off because there's this block. Like, what is it? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like they get, because like something happens, right? And then they don't come together to solve the conflict because they don't even maybe realize it. And then it's creating this like cracked ice schism thing. And then before they know it, then they're like on totally opposite ends and they didn't mean to get there.
Okay, I agree.
And I think you could probably get in a canoe and paddle back, but you have to know that that's what happened.
Okay, I agree with that. And I have another statement that probably no one agrees with, but which is that I think that any 2 people could be married if they were, not could be married, could happily be married if they were really like genuinely working on them, like really healthy people, which is hard to find. 2 really healthy people will find each other attractive because if they just had to, like arranged marriage. This happens a lot. I didn't finish it.
Oh, okay.
Because I think human beings, you just like will love someone if you get to know them.
Okay, I
agree.
agree and disagree. I agree.
But it's really hard to do because most people aren't.
You can love someone's personality and them as a person, but there is this sort of physical chemistry of pheromones.
Yeah,
that I don't think you can change that. Like some people,
I don't know. I think it's
Okay,
possible.
but I think if you're put in a situation where you're forced to make it work, you can make it work.
I think you can find something you admire about them, and then you could learn to love it. I think the reason I believe this is because I've read a lot of interesting stuff about arranged marriages where people are like, this is the opposite of what I wanted, and they end up being like madly in love with them later because they're like, there's no one else I'm going to marry. I'm stuck, basically.
I dated
this
this
kind
guy.
of a weird idea, but it's just something I think.
And he gave me his hoodie because he was like going away for a while.
Oh no.
And he was a very clean person. Very clean.
Oh no.
But the smell of his scent
Oh,
did not appeal to me.
That is a thing.
What does that mean? You'd have like
And
unhealthy children?
He was a
It is
great
a thing.
person. So, and I did really like his, okay, never mind. But I think there is a certain aspect of physical chemistry that's either there or not, and it doesn't mean that it can't grow.
I think it could happen even if it's not there. That's what I think. But honestly, this is a pointless thing because it's a very hypothetical thing that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a
But
arranged
I will
marriage, then
say
it
that
matters.
I personally think that if you have a big spark with someone when you first meet, it's probably not going to work out. I think that you should have a slow burn, and there should be a hint of a spark.
Oh, that's a big discussion, but that's because
Ooh, we should have that discussion one of
that's
these days. That's a fun
thing,
one.
But that's kind of about like trauma.
Yeah,
Your
there's so
trauma
many-
and someone else's trauma igniting
attraction
in
is
sparks.
Such a complex thing because you can be attracted for good reasons.
thought
and
about
bad.
this
So
in
that's
depth.
a whole. We should do like a whole topic on.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's a really
Love
interesting-
that.
Okay, we definitely move on to our main topic, but yeah, that was a lot. I actually think that was broken down in
That's
a way that
layered.
made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think the bottom line, if I'm trying to say, is there's hope.
There is.
That's the main thing.
If you've fallen out of love, you mean like in a marriage?
There's
Yeah.
I absolutely think there's hope.
Well,
but
if
it's
they're
like
not-
Amy said,
if they're
if
not
the
a horrible
person
person.
is just not going to do anything, nope. No,
Yeah.
don't stay there and be tortured.
you have
Yeah.
you have to put in effort.
But I'm
That's
saying
the-
if
I
you're
think
like,
that's what they
man,
mean.
I
when they
really
say-
want things to get better and like we both really want to try, then yes, that's what
I think
I
that's
do
what
not. Yeah, I just
they
want to make
mean
that. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying like
Yeah.
this is like a really bad situation.
Don't-
There's
yeah.
hope. No. I am the opposite of that. No,
Yeah,
no.
true.
If it's a bad situation, just get out and be safe.
Do not
Save
let
yourself.
yourself be tortured.
But yeah, I feel
If
like
you
that's
realize-
just what they mean when they say it takes a lot of work, because it takes a lot of work to sustain
To
a
face
relationship.
your demons
Well,
over and
to
over and
even
over.
just be in a relationship with someone in general.
Well, that's what it is. It's
yeah.
facing your demons over and over because they trigger you
Well,
all the time.
Because relationships
Yeah.
are like mirrors.
Yeah.
And you're looking at
So
very
you have to be like,
unflattering angles of
"Ooh,
yourself a lot.
let me face
the
this
closer
one."
you get.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like freaking fitting
You're like,
room
wow, I'm
mirrors
really
at the store.
selfish.
That's
Ooh, I'm really critical. Yikes.
No, that's where I'm after. What is this? 11, 12?
oh my
11?
gosh, it's been like 700 years.
11?
You met on Christmas Eve
11
2009.
years in a relationship. Definitely, I'm like, wow, we're really getting down to some depths. And it's true what we were saying. Okay, so let's go there. So, main topic. How do we deal with depression and anxiety?
Ooh. Do you mean good and bad ways?
Sure.
How do we not deal
What's
with
your
it?
most toxic way that you deal with it?
Honestly,
I mean,
we should
ignore,
we should
ignore,
start
ignore.
with talking about the ways that we deal with it in a bad way.
Okay, let's
'Cause
name
then
all
you
of our
can
bad
contrast
ways.
it.
Okay, everyone do a list of your bad ways.
I can't stop watching television. That's the first
These are like your
flag.
red flags basically
First
for
flag.
yourself.
I can't stop watching TV. I feel like I'm going to jump out of my skin. Oh, I'm staying up till 2 a.m. for no reason. No. We know something's bad.
Okay, I'm ignoring everything going, wow, everything's great.
Really?
Oh.
Yes. I'm like, oh,
scary.
things are going pretty well. And then I'm like, oh my God. So I ignore it. So that's really hard to catch because I'm ignoring it. And then, similar to yours, I'm having something on at all times. So like
Yeah.
the sound is playing
Yes.
from like a YouTube video or a podcast at all times. And I'm like, oh, I can't do this task. Like I'm taking a shower or something. And I'm like, oh, I need to turn something on, but whatever. Or I'm going on a walk and I can't just listen to music. It needs to be something more engaging because I can't be alone with my thoughts. But I don't realize I don't want to be alone with my thoughts.
I do that a lot. Wow.
What's another good one? Oh, eating something really comfort food that just takes me out of the moment and then just keep taking me out of the moment.
Oh,
so I'm like,
ignoring
there will be no more moments.
Yeah, when you eat into the past being full and you're just kind of
and
like,
then you just look forward to the next time you're
why
going to
did I
do it again.
that?
Of like, not necessarily past being full, actually. That's not me. It's like, I eat to the good point, and then I'm like, oh, that was satisfying. And now I'm going to have another really satisfying meal in, let's see, hour and a half. All right, perfect.
Then you're like, do I have nothing to look forward to?
and then I'm like, no, and then you're like, wait,
Other than my
I
next
have nothing to look forward to. This is really bad.
Oh,
I'm
man.
looking forward to literally nothing this week except
Oh,
for my
if I
meals.
start ignoring like people's texts,
Oh,
I stop
yeah.
making plans, and I'm like, I can just sit in my bed and watch TV. No.
If I start making way too many plans because I'm trying to never be alone.
That's interesting.
Like you never can be alone for even like 5 minutes. You're like, oh, I have 10 minutes. Let me go do this thing and see this person. Like you just can't be
No,
alone with
I
your
think
thoughts.
I do the opposite.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
the
make
opposite.
plans.
Really?
I'm like, I can't hang out with anyone for the next 2 weeks. Can't
Yeah,
make one plan.
that's what I do.
Yeah,
That's
I think
interesting.
Christina's is the biggest for me. It's like you can't be alone with your thoughts, and you just put like, which I do that all the time. I must be an anxious person, which I am. Just like you have to be listening to a YouTube video or a podcast or like something. Music is not enough.
Yeah, or like I can't like listen to something that's like intellectual or like deep.
Yes.
I'm like I can't
Like,
hear
no, no, no,
that.
no, no, no.
Nope.
Nothing
Only
deep
like
right now.
fun, easy to
Yeah.
digest.
That is so true. Okay, so now let's talk about what are the positive ways. Once we've realized these red flags have sprung up, we're like, ooh, crap. I'm in the throes of insert whatever. Here, what do you do? I do physical and emotional things. Physical things to like calm my body, get me back into my body, things like that. And we
Like
probably
what?
all have things like this. We should say we're probably almost all the same things. Okay.
Okay.
So a bath or a shower.
Love it.
Okay, let's talk
Very
about that because
relaxing.
that's one of my number one things. The reason why a bath or a shower is so powerful for some people, for me particularly,
powerful.
is because when you live in your head all the time and your thoughts are just going and going and you're just like a hamster on a wheel, you need to get out of your head and into your body and into the present moment. And for me, something about hot water and especially like a nice smell, like if you have like bubble bath or
Yes.
like essential oils
Yes.
or a candle, that
Yes.
the sensory experience, and you're in your bath, you can't have your phone.
So
Hopefully you don't have your phone in the
huge.
bath.
Oh, I
Please
do.
don't.
I will
Don't take
watch
your phone in
something.
there.
But if
Yeah.
I'm depressed and I'm like, no. if I'm trying to get out of here, I'm putting on just relaxing music so I can actually get in the moment.
I was gonna say put on instrumental music.
Yes, that's
no
what I do.
lyrics to even think about. No lyrics to influence your mood.
Unless it's a lyric that's helping me get in touch, I'll do that sometimes.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a song that's totally what I'm trying to feel, what I'm trying to avoid feeling. I'm like, just listen to the song.
I listen to sad songs and
like
cry.
a song Lisa wrote.
Yes.
You gotta be
That's-
brave for that.
When you're listening to something Lisa wrote, you know something went wrong.
But sometimes I feel like music can manipulate my emotions a little bit.
That's true.
And like make it form a new shape that it wasn't necessarily going to be. And having it be an instrumental can just let it be what it wants.
That's interesting.
I feel like it tells me, like, I listen to something and I'm like, this one's not really it. That's not really it. And then I'm like,
and then you like feel it.
you call me up again just to break.
Mm,
I'm like, okay, that's it.
And you know what? Okay,
Lauren's
showers.
walking out in the bathroom.
Showers feel like New Year's because they feel like new
fresh.
year, new me.
Yeah.
It literally feels like a fresh start. You get started, and you're like, it's a new year.
I love that.
every time.
Well, and the hot water just feels so nice and like comforting and relaxing. And it really
Yes.
helps you with
It's like a
in like a
physical-
sensory way.
Yes. And then, okay, this is kind of similar, but not at all, which is a walk. Is the same
Oh,
thing. When I
yes.
get back from a walk, I feel like new year, new me.
Yeah, and
fresh start.
a therapist told me why that was. I probably mentioned this a long time ago, but it's because your body, the left and right hemispheres of your brain, when you move one side of your body, it activates that side. So when you're walking, you're activating both sides, and it helps you connect the emotional side to the rational side of your brain, which helps you calm down when your
reprocess.
emotions are just taking over you and you're like,
It
oh,
helps you think.
it helps you
Yeah.
just calm. Yeah. So going on a walk physically helps you like work out your problems.
And the movement
The fresh
aspect of
air.
it too.
For me, also, even just going outside, like just
Yeah.
standing outside, like just feeling
Yes.
like, you know, earth,
Getting
wind, and
out
fire.
of your house.
Like, just getting out of the house, out of the room, just like, okay, looking at the sky, looking
Yes.
around, like, oh, I'm on the earth. I'm not just like trapped in this little room in my house.
Yeah, because
That's
I
so
have a
true. It is
tendency
true.
to like hole up in my room, but it's not good. You have to get out of your room.
Yeah, and then you don't really realize how depressing your vibe was in there until you leave.
And
then
it's
you come
usually
back,
really
you're like,
messy and
You're like,
dark.
yikes. Which brings me to a next one, and this is all just physical stuff. This is the physical thing. Cleaning.
I was gonna say,
So making your
I have
environment,
the exact same thoughts. Either.
making your environment fresh,
Relaxing.
organized, relaxing. Oh my gosh, washing your sheets.
Oh yes.
Vacuuming.
And
Oh
you know
my
what? If
gosh.
you're in a depressive slump where you feel like you can't physically make your environment, have someone come over that can help you.
ask someone to help you.
Literally schedule it in. Be like, hey, are you free on Saturday? I've been really down. I need help cleaning. Can you please help me? And a good friend will be like, yes, I'll help you. Like, let's do
Can
it.
you help me organize this? Can you help me with this?
Throw
Whatever.
stuff away. You'll feel so much better. Don't leave food wrappers in your room and plates and cups. Like, you're just going to feel so
Yeah,
depressed.
get rid of the cup
If you
graveyard.
take your environment, you organize things, you throw all your trash away, you clean and wash everything, you organize things, you're going to step back in the room or whatever it is and just be like, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's so
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah, because I feel like when you look around and all you see is this like dirt and uncleanliness, it's just like taunting you all day, like, idiot, you couldn't clean your room, you left this out, you did that, and every time you look at it, you're just like,
Feels
it's depressing.
horrible.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times there's like this thing in my brain that's like, oh my gosh, like you need to rest. You're so tired. But sometimes it's tricking me and I don't need to rest. I'm just like, I need to get up and I need to do something about like my state. And it seems like, oh, but I don't have the energy for that. I'm going to die if I try to clean my room. No. You're not going to die if you try to clean your room. It's going to be okay. Maybe you need to rest for another 30 minutes, an hour, and then put on like your favorite movie or something that makes you feel better and just put it on and then clean while the movie's going, and then you won't even notice that you're cleaning.
And cleaning can be really restful, actually.
It makes you feel so
which
much
is
better.
true. It can be like, I desperately need rest, which is very valid. But sometimes cleaning, taking a bath, taking a shower, whatever, that can be so restful. For me, it's very
A
restful.
bath is definitely restful for me.
It's so
I was
restful.
gonna
Even a walk can be restful
Yeah,
for me.
and my number one
I
way
don't
of
know about that.
resting being watching TV is actually really not restful. I learned
Yeah.
that. It doesn't actually refresh
Because
or
it's really
rejuvenate you.
stimulating to your brain,
Yeah.
not like
Because
actually
you want to
resting.
rest your mind.
You need to do. I need
How
to
do you
like
rest
physical-
your mind?
Okay, what I do is I put on my projector and I put on some music and I lay in my bed and I do a face mask. That is the number one way that I like. It gives, because it spins around the room and it gives me like this just vibe, and I just lay there and I'm like,
A whole sensory experience.
yeah, I give myself a whole sensory experience and it's great. That is the one thing that like resurrects me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, your room should be your haven.
Your sanctuary.
And you should really ask yourself when you go home, how do I feel when I go into my room? Do I feel good here? Does the decor and like the stuff that's around me, does it make me feel calm? Because if you're struggling with anxiety, and also depression too, I would say, like, just you want to make sure that your room has reminders of hope. Like, that was something that I always, and I still feel like
That's
I
a
want to
good
do.
point.
Like, I like to have things on display when I was in my room that like remind me that I'm loved. So like gifts or like pictures from friends, or artwork that just reminds me of something hopeful, and then colors that are really soft and like relaxing. That is important.
That's a really good point that goes with my next point, which is having quotes up that really uplift you. Because I've gotten out of several different funks in my life and overcome some big fears by finding quotes that were in that theme. So when I had a huge fear of failure, then I found a bunch of quotes about failure specifically and fear of failure, and I put them all around, like in the bathroom, on the washer, the dryer, the refrigerator, my room, the mirror, everywhere. And it really changed. So think about, you're walking around all day being like, oh, I'm scared of this sucks, it's horrible. Then you read this thing that's like positive quote, whatever, and then it's a different thought finally. And then you read like 10 of them in a day and you have these 10 positive thoughts, or maybe you read them multiple times, 20 things a day, you know? So that has been a huge game changer for me.
Yeah, and switch the quotes out depending on your stage of life so that it fits with you. Like, I had for the longest time right over my bed, because my bed was always where I'd have mental breakdowns. God is faithful. That was really important for me in that part of my life, to remember that I can trust God. He's not going to let me down. I can trust him. And then for the longest time, and I think this one is probably one I would still put up if I had a quote over my bed right now, which I don't, was, Jesus, I surrender myself to you. Take care of everything.
Oh,
it's like the surrender
love
prayer.
it.
And that just reminded me, like, I don't have to do it all myself. I can rely on God and he will take care of me.
Yeah.
Seeing that sometimes actually like saved me. Like, it helped me so much.
Don't have a toxic positivity quote.
Yeah, don't
Like,
Don't
good
have-
vibes only.
Don't have something that says, yeah, anything like that that's actually harassing
Live,
you,
laugh, love.
telling you to just smile
Oh,
and pretend you
no.
don't feel
Don't
sad.
cry because it's
Choose
over.
happiness.
Smile because it happened.
Happy girls are the prettiest girls.
Oh my gosh,
I
that's
hate
horrible.
that one so
I'm like, wow, so I'm sad and ugly. Okay.
Love that.
Great.
Love that. And somehow your emotional state is like, it has some bearing on your outer state. Okay.
It's great. Wonderful.
One thing that my therapist told me about anxiety was that anxiety will never be satiated. And I was like, oh, that's so true, because you feel like, oh, if I just think this thing through enough times, it'll go away. And it never goes away, because this is not like a logical, rational feeling that like, oh, if you just solve the piece, it's going to go away. No. So what she told me to do was things that like kind of interrupt it and be like, oh, I'm ruminating right now really bad. That's okay. But I don't want to spend my like time doing this. So I'm going to read a book. And reading a book is super good in that scenario, because it forces your mind to picture something else. So if you have like a nice, like easy read that's very like descriptive, gives you a lot to like go off of, it's super helpful, because it's like, oh, now my brain is thinking about something totally different, because I'm taking a break from this rumination and I'm reading this book, and I'm going to read it until I forget about it. And then we're going to try again.
I like to make a plan. Of course I do. Whenever I'm anxious about things,
I make the plan and I go over the plan 7,000 times and it doesn't help.
Oh, I go, all right, here's my plan. The end. Done. I have a plan. Whew. And then
Lauren
I'm like, all
has
right,
heard me do
now
it.
you have permission to never think about your plan again. And that's what I do. And I don't think about it again. I'm like, the plan is in place. Now I know what to do. I think 'cause a lot of your things are more like hypothetical things where you can't have a plan.
I'll lay on the floor in Lauren's room every 5 minutes. I go, so wait, if I do this, it'll be fine.
I'm like,
So
yeah.
if I do this, it'll be fine.
Well, it might not be fine, is the problem.
Or just whatever the plan
Well,
is.
it's like, here's a solution, right? I'm like, yep. She's like, so here's a solution, right? I'm like,
Because it sounds like you're not really
So
looking.
here's the solution.
It sounds like you're not looking for a solution. Like for me, when I'm anxious, I am desperately
I'm
searching for a
not.
solution. But it sounds like for you, which maybe there's some categories that's true for me too. You're not like, I want a solution. It's more like, I just want to continue to ruminate on this because if I do, it will finally be solved.
Maybe.
If I keep thinking about it, it'll be safer than if I stop thinking about it.
Maybe.
So that's why you have to be like, all right, let's read a book now.
Yeah, that's why I have to read a book, because then I can stop thinking about it.
Yeah, the same thing's not going to work for everyone. So Amy needs to do her book. I need to make a plan. We have to figure out our specific things.
Yeah, and also this is sort of what's the word, meta? I don't know what the word is. This is sort of a big, like a zoom out sort of advice thing, which I've noticed for my own mental health, which is, what do you do in your life that creates a life that is bad, basically? Like,
Yes.
and don't do that. So like,
Yes,
I know
yes,
that
yes.
sounds very simple, but it's like, I know the things that make me very anxious, and I know the things that trigger my mental health issues. So I know how to live a mentally healthy life, and I know how not to for my own personal journey. Everyone's different. So like, if I'm just running around and doing a million things a day and never addressing my feelings, I'm going to get a giant emotional clog, and I'm going to have a panic attack. That is just, I know myself, that's what happens. So if I simply check in every once in a while, I can lighten that load and avoid heading towards that. And I'm just speaking for myself. Everyone's different. But it's like, you have to know yourself. That will help you so much. What are the behaviors that I'm doing that are contributing to me feeling this way? And how can I,
Not
you
do
could even
them.
just sit down and make a list. Like, these are the things I do that make my anxiety and depression worse. These are the things that I do that make it better. And I know it's really hard when you're in the, like, I get it. I know I've been there. When you're in the pit of that, it is really hard to do the things. So it's like, you want to try to do the good things before you get to that place.
Well,
you know?
I have a good thing to speak to that, because sometimes it is like, you realize what the bad things are, and then you're like, okay, just stop doing it. You're like, I
Like,
can't
no.
stop doing it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then
it
there-
feels compulsive.
I've actually amazingly gotten over that hump in many categories where it's like, I can't stop doing this thing. And it's like, oh my gosh, I did. I got over it. I figured it out. The way that I did was I actually figured out, like you say a lot, what's the reason why I can't do it? So it's like, oh, the overscheduling is making me really anxious. And you're like, but I have to stop doing it. But you're like, I can't. And then it's like, okay, well, let me figure out why I'm
What
doing
am
it
I
in the first
running
place.
from?
Okay, it's because I'm really
Lonely.
stressed out about, okay, I'm really lonely right now, so I'm doing this. Okay, what is a healthier way I could
How do I connect with people?
that's not going to be burning me out so fast? Or for me to be like, I'm avoiding this thing because I'm really stressed out about these things that I don't want to think about because it's so many emotions that I don't want to feel. So then I have to say, okay, I have two options here basically. I can try to fight my will here and be like, oh, just be disciplined and don't do it. Just be stronger. Or I can be like, okay, I'm really scared to think about this thing in my life that really hurts because I'm really uncomfortable feeling out of control, powerless, abandoned, rejected, hurt, whatever it is. I'm going to choose to dive into this right now and actually feel it. Like, we were swimmers, and when we had morning practice, it was at 7 a.m. and some days it was pretty cold.
Yeah.
And it's just that first
And the cold water
couple
is sitting
laps.
there, and you have to get into your swimsuit, and you're kind of like,
Those first couple laps.
I don't want to jump
when
in. I
you
don't want to
dive
jump in. It's going to be cold.
It's like, it's a shock. It's so freezing, but you just know, okay, if I just dive in and then I just swim for a bit, I will warm up and I will feel better. But you could just be like, some people would hide in the bathroom and they'd be like, I'm not going to go in there. And they would just hide like the whole practice and like skip practices. And that was like me with my emotions. So it's like, okay.
Hiding in your own bathroom.
I don't want to hide in my emotional bathroom. I need to just dive into my emotional pool and realize it's going to be shocking and uncomfortable at first, but I will get through it. I have a lot of tools. Maybe I should talk about this in therapy. Maybe talk to my husband, my best friend, my sisters, my mom, blah, 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 whoever. Maybe I need to talk to someone about this. Maybe I need to have some help through this, but I need to figure out why it is that I'm doing this, or else I can't just, that's the big problem, is people are like, just be stronger, just be more disciplined, just do it, just push yourself. And I used to think like that that was definitely me. I'm like, I just need to be more disciplined.
No, it's not a discipline thing.
It's such a smarter thing to figure out why you're having such a hard time getting disciplined. It's not because you're a lazy piece of trash, but I think a lot of people think that. They're like, oh, I'm just not disciplined. I'm just lazy. I don't really think that's a thing. I think you can be lazy sometimes. Like, oh, I don't want to pick that up, so I'm going to see if Barrett, please get that for me. Please bring me my shoes. I try to get him to pick it up. I'm just being lazy, But I just don't think that's the case most of the time. But I think most people think that. I'm just bad. There's just something wrong with me. I'm just lazy, but I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I think if we got to go deeper, that's the scary part. Nobody wants to do that. But when you do it, it's so freeing. So I think you got to stop with those really common messages.
Yeah.
Just be disciplined.
But also when going with the metaphor, when you go into the pool and do the practice, you get stronger. And when you hide in the bathroom, you don't get stronger.
You just learn how to hide in the bathroom.
Learn how to hide in the bathroom, and
you live in the bathroom.
You're literally stuck in the bathroom, which is gross.
Who wants to live in the bathroom?
Those swim team bathrooms are gross.
They really were gross.
No one wants to be hiding in there.
And people would rather hide in the gross bathroom than jump into the pool.
Yeah, and also another thing I want to bring up that I think pertains very commonly to mental health that I've experienced is all or nothing thinking.
Oh, yes.
And kind of going back to, I think loneliness is a great example because I think it's kind of an epidemic in our culture.
Yeah.
Of being more connected than ever, but more isolated than ever.
Oh, yeah.
And technology is a huge part of why there's so much depression and anxiety, I think, that we're all experiencing collectively. And all or nothing thinking, I think, is when you think there's one way to cure your problem and that's the only way it's going to be cured. So for instance, this is, I think, a common example. I'm lonely because I don't have a romantic relationship. I won't be not lonely until I have one. Well, guess what? Statistically, that's not actually true because a lot of people, like they've even proven, even in happy marriages, people will experience loneliness. You being with your soulmate is not going to cure you being lonely. There's so many small things you could do right then and there to not be lonely. Loneliness comes from feeling isolated. So do you have friendships that you can be yourself in, or even family relationships?
Are you too scared to show yourself to other people? Maybe that's the problem.
Right.
A fear you don't want to acknowledge.
Yeah. Or like, are there ways that you could give back that would help you to feel connected to people? I'm just trying to give you guys solutions of like that these things can help you to feel better, and it doesn't have to be, oh, I have to go find a relationship because that's going to be really hard.
Open your mind is what you're saying, basically.
There's so many different ways you can feel better.
And I think something like, not above, but like that what you're saying is in the umbrella of is like, we're talking about like, okay, what are like things in your life that you're doing that are like contributing to your poor mental health? But I think also looking at, which is kind of hard and you probably actually need a therapist to help you with this, but what are your mental patterns that are contributing to your poor mental health? Like, how are you like that's something like all or nothing thinking is like a mindset kind of thing that you have that's contributing, or like putting a lot of pressure on yourself all the time. Like for me, that's something like having really high expectations for everything. So then pretty much everything that I do, I never meet my expectations. So everything I do, I feel like I'm failing every single thing that I do because
like,
I'm like,
no,
I should be
lower
here.
Them. If I lower my expectations, then everything I do won't be very good, which is not true.
Yeah.
I worked through that with my therapist.
Yeah. And like, I think there's a lot of different, like, just ways of thinking or like being really critical to yourself all the time that really just wear
Ruin
you
your life.
down and like drain your energy all day. So it's like, yeah, you don't have the energy to go clean your room and go on a walk and this or that because you're wearing yourself down just mentally all day.
And you don't
and
even
then
realize
you
it.
continue wearing yourself down because you're like, oh, why am I so tired? I didn't even do anything today. But you did. You spent the whole day like beating
Torturing
yourself up, like
yourself.
wearing yourself down all day.
That is a really good point, and I think there's like actually really simple realizations you can have that can totally change your whole way of thinking. This is a really simple thing. We kind of say this a lot, but we had the same therapist for a while, and she kept saying, you're a human being, you're not a robot. You can't just program yourself to do everything perfectly. And that sounds, I don't know, just when she kept saying that, she kept having to remind me, you're not a robot. And that made me realize, oh my gosh, I'm treating myself like I'm this robot who's just going to do everything perfect if I just program everything perfectly. Mm-hmm. And it made me realize human beings don't just do things perfectly. They don't just do everything right. We're not just supposed to be flawless. But I was thinking I was supposed to be that. I think we kind of think we are supposed to be that. I'm supposed to be perfect.
Yeah, it's like, oh, if I just do X, Y, Z, then I'll get to this place and the rest of my life, like, yeah, I'll be perfect.
No.
But then when you say it out loud, it's like, no, wait, I need a different goal for my life. I'm never going to be a robot. Why is my life goal to be a robot?
Yeah, and if you have to look at your definitions of like what you're aiming for. Like a good example for me is motherhood. I had this expectation in the beginning that if I wasn't a perfect mom, then I was going to mess up my sons. And I didn't realize that I had this, but I kept obviously failing.
I thought about this a lot.
No one's perfect. And my therapist said to me, and I keep thinking about this, and I think this applies to so many areas of life. She said, no one is a perfect mom, but you can be a great mom, and great moms model imperfection. And I think that applies to so many things. And I say that to myself
and
all the time.
Goodness.
And that makes me want to cry.
Such a relief.
Imagine if our parents just showed us like, it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to not do everything right, to have flaws, to mess up.
If they show us what it looks like to get angry in a healthy way, or to get angry not in a good way, and then to apologize.
Because one of the best book I think I've ever read about mental health is called You Are Not a Rock. And in that book, he says it's not actually the thing that happened, it's the judgment and the thought that you have about the thing that happened that makes you miserable.
And the thought. So maybe you have this project you're working on and you really screwed it up.
And if you're in a mentally healthy place, you would say, you know what? That wasn't my best effort. I'm going to do a better job. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to change.
Let me figure out what went wrong. This is disappointing. I'm really upset this happened, but okay, I'm not a robot. I'm going to make mistakes. I know that. I'm just a human being, and I can fix this next time. Or
if you're in a bad place, you would just start, which I feel like I do that automatically.
Failure.
You start beating yourself up.
Yeah.
And
never be good enough.
Yeah, but if you're able to just
failed out today,
to
you
be
really
like,
screwed
you know
this
what?
up.
Perfect people don't exist, and I'm gonna make mistakes sometimes, and that's okay. I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to make a mistake. It's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm a failure, that I'm a bad person. I'm allowed to do this. This is part of being a human, and I'm still lovable. I'm still worthy. I was telling myself in the workout class,
like, I'm still lovable. I'm still worthy.
I was like my friend posted this, and she said,
wow, you should be leading a women's class, and you're
honestly,
like, we're still lovable.
I would love
We're still worthy women.
My friend Alexa,
you need to modify
I'll
this,
give her
just
a
lift your arm
shout
a
out.
little bit. You're still lovable. You're still worthy.
My friend Alexa posted this recently. She said, how many times do you just say, I love myself? Do you ever say that?
I
thought
myself.
about that, and I was like, oh yeah, whatever. But then I looked in the mirror during the workout class, and I was like, I love myself. And then I was like,
this is Sappy Thoughts with Cass.
Wow, do you ever think that though? Do you ever just think?
Yeah, I think I do.
I
think
love
about
myself.
That. I think I've journaled about this a lot.
Yeah, I never do that. And
No,
when you
I
look
worked
at
on this in therapy a lot.
When you look
actually.
at yourself and you say I love myself, it brings a lot of things up. Because you look at yourself and you're like, am I actually lovable? What do I think is lovable? Well, I think lovable is this. Well, I'm not that. Ugh, like it makes you think. So
yeah, I'm always telling myself stuff like, you are trying really hard. You're really doing your best. You're really putting yourself out there. You're both like, I'm trying to build myself like up like that a lot. I didn't used to that a lot before. It was just kind of what Lauren was saying of like, wow, didn't measure up here, should have done better here. Because I'll touch on this briefly because this is a really important thing of how I deal with depression and anxiety. My therapist really helped me unpack this a while ago. She said, you're beating yourself up all day because you think if you don't hold yourself up to an impossible standard, then you'll be really bad at everything, basically. And the reason why you're excelling at anything is only because you're beating yourself up all the time. And I was like, yeah, that is exactly what I think. I'm telling myself, do better, work harder, do this smarter, whatever. Because if I don't tell myself like that, stuff like that, I'm not gonna do it well. Like if that voice isn't there, harassing me all day, then what's going to tell me to do anything? Nothing. I'll just be lying around and I'll lose everything. Like that's literally what I thought. So then she said, well, can you think of anything in your life that you didn't have that voice driving? Like something you just did for like passion or love or enjoyment that you excelled at? And then I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. Piano, first of all, I literally just played for fun. My mom didn't force me to. She was really great about that. I was obsessed with piano. I played for hours a day and I really excelled at it because I just loved it. I didn't have anything telling me, you need to do better, blah, blah. But then that voice came in later and then I stopped really playing piano for fun and I stopped actually being as good. So I was like, oh my gosh, that my passion drove me. And then I thought about psychology. I only started like obsessively reading about psychological things out of just pure curiosity and then passion and intrigue. And then I would read for 10 hours a day and learn everything and take notes and reread books multiple times and tell everyone. And it wasn't because something in my head was saying, you need to be learning this, you need to be doing this, blah, blah. And that harassing voice that comes all day, every day. It was literally just like passion, enjoyment, love of it. And when she said that to me, I realized those things I've really excelled at. And I had none of the voice. So then what would my life be like if I could not have that voice in like every category? It wouldn't be my fear of suddenly I will suck at everything and get nothing done. Like when I'm making my breakfast, I'm like, I'm not like, you better do something impressive. I'm like, ooh, I really want a crepe. That sounds really great. I'm going to make that. I'm not like harassment. Like some people have that with eating. They're like, you need to eat 1 calorie for breakfast and it needs to be this perfect whatever thing. But I'm just like, ooh, this would be great. Let me make that. And then I make this great thing that I love. It's not, I have the harassment voice. So I feel like that's just a tip. Hopefully that helps you. That helped me so much. That harassing voice, it's actually not driving you to excellent. It's driving you insane and to a place of just
into
pure
the ground.
Misery, driving you into the ground. It's not helping you excel. It may have helped you sometimes by, like, you think it helped you by saying you needed to try this better, so you did it out of fear, but ultimately it's not sustainable. It's literally, it's not sustainable. It will drive you into the ground, and overall you will be less productive over time because it's so exhausting having that. She said it's like if a person were following you around all day saying that wasn't good enough, do that better, did you realize you just did that there, hello, did you notice that, you shouldn't have said that.
That's so
if someone's
sad.
walking around doing it to me all day, oh my gosh,
But
it's
that's
like,
how we live our
please
lives.
stop.
I feel like almost every person, probably every person, has that voice.
Yes,
all the
we
time,
all do.
and that's really sad.
So I wanted to put that out there for you guys. Anything else? We have to mention journaling. Journaling,
Journaling
major
is key.
Okay, I'll tell you why journaling. I feel like if you know why, you're more likely to do it. Journaling is
true.
There's actually, I've read a few books on this. One of them is called "Opening Up: The Healing Power of Expressing Your Emotions" by James Pennebaker.
And it is really
It's
good.
so good.
you
And the
gave
other
it
one
to
is
me.
called "Writing as a Way of Healing" by Louise DeSalvo, and they talk about how it's been scientifically proven that journaling makes you healthier. People like, they did this study where I don't want to mess up, but this is the general sense of it. They had people journal about a traumatic event, and they had like a control group where they just journaled about like, oh, what's the weather? And the people that expressed like the traumatic event for a certain amount of minutes for a certain amount of days, they had like less doctor's visits and less like sick days in the year to come.
Less
it was
health
like
issues in general.
They were healthier. So like journaling in a way that you're actually expressing deep emotion and being honest and real makes you a healthier, better
helps
person.
your physical health,
which is
it helps
crazy.
so much.
So it's your mental and your physical health. It literally just helps you be the best person that you can, because it gets all your words out there on paper or whatever you're journaling to see, and it helps you like put things together. It gets it out of your head.
Yeah, it's
It's
magical.
just so helpful.
Yeah, because you think about, like, if you're just thinking, your mind can kind of like, you start thinking about this, then you go, la, 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 and you never really finish the actual like thought.
the
But when
thought.
you're writing, you're forced to like whittle it down to like, this is the story, this is how I feel, this is what happened, instead of just like your mind going everywhere.
Oh yeah, the biggest thing that helps me is identifying the story that I'm telling myself about whatever I'm
It's a great
thinking
Brene
about, whatever is
Brown. I
hurting
think Brene
me.
Brown's the first one who said it like that.
I don't know.
The story you're
Well,
telling
yeah,
yourself.
can you give an example of that? Because I think that's a really
here's
powerful
a great
point.
one. Okay.
That is something I do all the
This
time. I
one is
don't even
kind of
realize.
embarrassing, but it's not. Okay.
Okay.
So I have a fish, right? And his name is Jack. Now, I was panicking, like ruminating severely because Jack was unwell, like not
Mentally?
a well
Sick
fish.
or
He was a
physically?
sick fish.
Okay.
And I was just panicking. And I was going up with my solutions. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I kept doing it and I couldn't stop. Like I literally was like, okay, I'm going to do this salt bath. I'm going to do
solution
salt bath. I'm going to do salt
ruminator.
bath. I'm going to do salt bath. I'm going to do I was like, lady, what is going
You're
on?
gonna do the salt bath.
I know I'm going to do salt bath. Let me sleep. But nope, salt bath. Salt bath. And then I realized, oh my gosh, It's not about the nugget, it's about the lies. So then I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why am I freaking out about the fish? No offense. I love my fish. I've had them for 10 months. I'm very proud of myself. And then I was like, oh, I'm scared that if I kill this fish on accident, I'm a huge failure. And I'm a bad person. And this makes me horrible.
So
and then
that's the story
That's
you were
the story
telling
that I was
yourself.
telling myself was that if this fish dies, I'm a failure. I'm a horrible person. I'm bad at taking care of things. I'm never going to amount to
It's
anything.
a lot of pressure that you
On a
have on
fish.
yourself.
And
Like,
then-
this
yeah.
determines whether I'm a failure or not, or whether I'm a bad person or
Yeah.
not. This is a big deal. I better remember the salt
And then
bath.
Yeah.
I unfailured that. I went in and then I stopped salt bath.
Like, it doesn't mean that.
So wait, did you do the salt bath?
Yeah, I did it. My fish is fine. He's
So
good.
you're saying that you were, let me make sure I understood this correctly. You were saying that you kept thinking over and over, I'm gonna do the salt bath, but you wouldn't actually do it. And then
no,
once you
Kat,
realized,
I'm laying in my bed trying to sleep.
She's
every
saying
2
tomorrow
minutes.
I'm gonna do the salt bath. Like she already
Oh, you
planned
could've
what
So
she was
how's the
gonna
fish
do.
gonna be? How's the fish gonna be? What am I gonna do?
it
How am I
almost
gonna do
seems
it? I
like
already know what
there's
I'm gonna do.
another voice that's not heard that's saying, you're a bad person, and then you're like, but I'm gonna do the salt bath. You're a horrible person. You're
gonna do
killing
the
your
salt
fish.
But I'm not
gonna do it.
hearing that
Yeah,
that part. I'm
we
only
don't
hearing
hear
the this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, my friend and I were talking about this today, how she said she was doing a workout class and she looked in the mirror and was like, you look ridiculous.
Oh my gosh,
And then
that's
she
so
was
sad.
like, wait, what? Like, no, I don't. Like, it's just so weird. And I feel like I did that during the
is
workout
so
class
true.
too. And it's like we say these things, you don't even
You'd be like,
realize
you're
that you're doing.
embarrassing. You're like, no, I'm not
Yeah,
embarrassing.
like on the real, Adrienne Bailon, big fan of her, I love her. She said that she was working out and she said your arms look
I saw
whack or
this
whatever.
episode.
And then her husband said, don't talk about my friend that way.
My
I'm like,
friend.
oh my gosh. And it was like, that's just so nice. Like,
That is nice.
Got friend zoned by her husband.
Yeah.
Friendship is the heart of marriage.
okay.
It is.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like tell yourself that. Don't talk about my friend that way, to that mean voice, because it's not really who you are.
Okay, that's
Why
a
just
good
don't
place.
talk about me that way? I don't really know the friend thing, but like just yeah.
You are your friend.
I don't know. It
Okay.
feels like a separate person. This like mean critical. I'm not that person.
It does feel like a separate
I'm
one.
not
Okay, let's move
Nancy,
on from that. Let's
whatever.
move on. So, guys, we're gonna cut it off there. We could definitely go on a lot, but I really hope that helps you guys in your own journeys. Depression, anxiety. Once again, our number one recommendation is get professional help.
Yes.
Therapy is so valuable.
That is the foundation
With a good
of
therapist.
all.
With a bad one, not that valuable. With a good therapist, very, very, very valuable. We're going to move on to Sister Spotlight, where we spotlight one sister each week. Get real with Christina, Sappy or Sassy Thoughts with Kath, Lisa's Corner, Amy's Current Crisis, and Lauren's Take. And this week, the sister is... Ding! Lauren's Take.
Sorry.
Hey.
So in Kat's absence, but now she's back. But I took over Lauren's take.
So who's doing it today?
I just had a mini
I'm
panic
doing
and I was
it.
like, was I
Oh,
supposed
I'm
to?
doing it.
Oh, I thought Kath wanted to. Do you not want to do it?
No, I can do it. I just don't have the questions.
Okay, let me give you the questions.
I feel like Kath wants to do it. I don't know.
I know. I was like, wait, was I supposed to prepare? I didn't prepare.
Here, I screenshotted some questions. So, yeah.
So there you
Go
go.
through.
All right. So for Lauren's Take, these are from Patreon. And this is from Tabia. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say your name. She said, what do you appreciate the most of your boyfriend? You have a boyfriend?
Catherine!
Come on, the viewers want to know.
Okay. What do
If you
I
wanna share.
appreciate the most? That's a
She's like, none of your
tough
business.
call. I think I appreciate the most how understanding he is with my emotions, and like never makes me feel like I'm like being over dramatic or crazy or like why would you feel like that. I'm just like, oh, it's okay. Like, thank you.
Aw. We love a man with emotional depth.
We do.
Okay, this is from Megs. She says, what is the most important quality you look for in a significant other?
Wow. Themes.
The most probably like character, like as a person, like integrity, you know, is honest, has like honor. It's like doesn't want to just like cut corners and do this, wants to do the right thing. Just like
Love that.
character.
Love that. Okay, Anthony. I would like to give Anthony a shout out because he consistently has great questions. I've always noticed that on Patreon. Are you more likely to go to the store with an actual list or just a general idea of what to buy? That's a really good question.
Random,
I know.
but interesting.
Okay, look. If I'm grocery shopping for food for my week, I can't just be like, oh, let me think.
I've done that.
Just grab random stuff. Like, that's not gonna work. I'm not gonna have meals. I'm not gonna have food. I'll have like random stuff and then be like, oops, I spent a lot of money. Haha. I'm not doing that. Every time I go to the grocery store, I have a list of what meals I'm trying to make, all the ingredients, what I need to get. I even like separate into sections, like all the fruit and vegetables together, all the stuff that's like near each other,
get it,
so
Laura,
I
you
can
get it.
just
Iconic.
and I check it all off. So yes, I go with a list. I
Organized.
used to not do that, and it was just annoying.
Not right.
I hated it.
It's like, an impression of what to buy.
Yeah, I hate that.
All right, Isabel said, what do you think the hardest part about being an introvert is?
I feel like the hardest part is I feel like there's an expectation in society to not be an introvert. Like there's expectation
so
that
weird.
like everyone should be so friendly and nice and
Yeah.
talk. And it's like, why is that an expectation? Because I feel like a lot of people are introverts. It's just like, it seems like that's what people expect from anyone.
And they're
which
like, oh,
literally
come
makes
on,
no
don't
sense.
be shy.
Yeah,
No.
it's like, why?
Or like, oh, you're so quiet. You never shut up.
So it just kind of feels like, okay, I'm not what you expected. I get it. But it's okay.
All right, ending it on more of a lighter note from Juju. She said, what is your favorite shoe brand?
Shoe brand, probably Vans.
I knew you were
I
gonna say
have
it.
a lot of
knew
Vans.
it.
Ooh,
I knew it.
good one.
And
Wait, what's everyone else's favorite shoe brand? I'm just curious.
I feel like I don't know any shoe brands.
Adidas,
I own the most Adidas. That is what I have.
Nike.
Well, these are my favorite shoes, and they're Puma.
Mm.
But I only have one pair from them.
Lauren's such a Vans girl.
I don't really have very many shoes of the same brand at all.
Yeah,
I just have
you're
much different
eclectic.
ones.
Okay.
Okay, Target shoes. I do have to
Target
say,
shoes are really
I
good.
feel like I find the best shoes for my feet personally, my very own personal feet at Target. I
Oh
just
my
think they
gosh.
work the best for me.
Yep.
Okay, guys, that is that.
That's a wrap.
Thank you, patrons, for supporting us. We love you guys. You're the best. And we'll see you in the next episode. Anything else to say? I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Lisa will be back in the next episode.
We hope.
Can't say 100%, but I'm pretty sure. 99? 90?
I hope you
90%.
found this episode helpful. And if you feel like you are in a really bad place, make sure that you reach out and get help.
Reach out.
Yeah, reach out.
Don't isolate yourself. Don't stay alone. All right, guys. I'm really tired. So I really need to go to sleep right now. That's not going to happen. When you have a toddler, you don't just get to go to sleep when you want. All right. See you guys in the next one. And good luck on your healing journeys.
Oh, yes. Good luck on your healing journeys.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.